This is why you should never date a married person nor believe anything that comes out their mouth. Because this woman convinced her boyfriend to unalive her husband, all because she said that her husband had been abusive towards her for years. So here's the story behind that. 49-year-old Jamie Faith and his wife 49-year-old Jennifer Faith, who lives in Oak Cliff, Texas, and they've been married for 15 years and they have a teenage daughter. Jamie worked for American Airlines as a technology director, and Jennifer was a speech therapist. Now, during the COVID pandemic back in March of 2020, Jennifer received a message from this man, Darren Lopez, who was, peep this, her high school sweetheart and her prom date back in high school. The two would start having conversation with each other, and a few days after they started conversations, they start professing their love for one another again. It would come to find that they've been passing more than 500 text messages as well as 500 emails between one another. Nobody even knew about these conversations except for Jennifer's longtime friend, in which she had stated that she's been having a hot emotional affair for the past few weeks. And everything between the two people seemed to be blissful until Jennifer went ahead and started making claims saying that Jamie has been abusive towards her. Now, during an interview that Darren Lopez would go ahead and give, he has stated that he started receiving emails from Jennifer's husband and from Jennifer's friend Rob. And the emails he received from Jennifer's husband was that he was saying that he knew about the affair and that if it continues on that he would go ahead and start abusing Jennifer. And in the emails from Rob, it would go on to say that he was telling him that the abuse was getting worse and that he should do something about it. So Darren Lopez was a former Green Beret combat medic who suffered from a brain injury that he got while he was doing tours in Iraq. So with Darren having a sense of honor, he wanted to help out Jennifer, and so he suggested that they should go to the police and make a report about it, but Jennifer had turned it down and said that she didn't want her husband to be arrested in front of her daughter. So they came up with a plan to unalive him. So on October 8th of 2020, Darren had drove from his home in Cumberland, Furnace, Tennessee, all the way to Texas to carry out the plan. So on the morning of October 9th of 2020, both Jamie and Jennifer had left the home to go walk their Bernese mountain dog Maggie around the neighborhood. Now in their police report, Jennifer will go ahead and say that once her and her husband had left the house to go walk their dog, a masked gunman had jumped out from behind the bushes and shot her husband 7 times. And when she tried to take off running, they had tackled her and then duct taped her hands together and then tried to take her jewelry. Now one of their neighbors would heard the gunshots and went outside to investigate, and when he saw Jamie laying on the ground, he tried to go help, but then noticed there was a gunman standing right there with his gun out, and so he ran back to his house to go grab his own. Because face it, it's Texas, everybody has one. And so when he ran back outside, he noticed that the gunman had hopped in his truck and was pulling off, and one thing he noticed about the truck was that it had a decal of a T on it. Now in the wake of her husband's death, Jennifer would give different interviews asking the community to help locate the man that killed her husband, even though she knew that the person who did it was her own boyfriend. Now, even though she gave this sob story about what happened to her husband, authorities didn't believe what she was saying. Now, authorities didn't believe anything she was saying because on the day of her husband's death, they had got consent from her to search through her phone to try to eliminate her as a suspect. But the thing about it was, Jennifer had deleted all the texts from Darren in the first place. But after a thorough search, they actually found a text she sent to her friend about a relationship between her and Darren. And after looking deeper into her phone, they actually found his full name as well as his address in Tennessee. So with police having this information, they went ahead and launched an investigation on the both of them. Because after a search of Darren Lopez's bank records and phone records, they managed to piece together all the information they needed that put him at the scene of the crime. Because after the death of her husband, her friends, family, and community had put together a GoFundMe page that raised over $60,000. And the crazy thing about it, the fund was supposed to be used to help her out in her financial need and also help to pay for the funeral, but instead she spent it on other things instead. Because she would go ahead and withdraw $58,000 and spend it all on Darren. Now during their investigation, it would come to find out that Jennifer has been giving money and gifts to Darren both before and after the murders, and the money that she would use from the GoFundMe page would pay for TVs that she would buy from, and she even bought him plane tickets for both him and his daughters to go anywhere that they want. She would even go as far as giving him 2 of her credit cards, and it would pay him off every time he used it. So when police felt they had all the information they needed to go ahead and arrest the two, they went ahead and asked Jennifer if she can come in for an interview. And then when she caught wind that they were looking for the decal that was on Darren's truck, she went ahead and texted Darren and let him know that he needs to go ahead and remove that decal off his truck, in which he did. She also instructed him to go ahead and factory reset his phone so that way there's no evidence they even communicate with one another, because she went ahead and did so before she went to go interview with the police. Later on, they would come to find out that Darren never actually factory reset his phone. He left everything on there. So due with all the evidence that they had against Jennifer, they went ahead and charged her with murder, but they was gonna go ahead and give her the death sentence. But they managed to give her a plea deal where as long as she admitted to everything that happened, they just gave her life in prison. So Jennifer will go ahead and tell the story how she convinced her boyfriend to unalive her husband by saying that he was abusive, even to a point where she was sending him pictures of injuries that she said that she sustained, but came to find that they were old injuries from when she was in a car accident. And she even acknowledged the fact that Darren suffered from a traumatic brain injury from back when he was in Iraq. So when authorities asked her why she unalived her husband, she said because she wanted the insurance money that she was the beneficiary of, which came out to a total of $630,000. Shortly after Jennifer was arrested, Darren was arrested by ATF agents, all for murder and for carrying a gun across state lines in the commission of a felony. He was extradited back to Texas to stand trial for the murder of Jamie, even though he pled not guilty in the beginning. Now during his trial, he recounted on all the pain and anguish he felt when he found that he took the life of an innocent man. And so after a week of trial, he was found guilty of murder, and where he is currently serving 65 years in prison, but he is currently trying to appeal it, trying to see if he can get a lesser sentence.